Hi, my name is Genein Letford, and I am your teacher representative on the DonorsChoose.org board. And today I have with us Miss Theresia Gouw. Hi.
Hi, Janine.
And it's been amazing. I've been on the board for about 2 years, and I've seen that you've done such amazing things. You are so intelligent, and you've done very well in the financial fields, and you're asked to join so many boards. You've been on this board for 8 years. What made you say yes? Not to the dress, but to the chair.
Well, honestly, it was really easy. I use the same criteria for whether I join a board, whether it's in my work world where I'm investing in the company or nonprofits like DonorsChoose.org. And when I say it was easy, number one criteria is, do I believe in the mission of what the organization is trying to create? Helping to give back and provide financial support for America's K-12 public school teachers and kids is something near and dear to my heart, and I'm sure a lot of other people. But then honestly, Charles made it super easy because he is right up there with one of the most compelling founder CEOs I've been lucky enough to work with. And then the last thing, which was like hidden, but we talked about it today, was, and then like you go on and you give something, and you don't give because you want, but the messages that you get back from the students, the thank you cards, I know the birthday card that you gave us a couple of years ago, there's something so heartwarming about an elementary schooler writing in pencil or crayon, just really what they think. It almost makes you feel guilty. It's like, well, I'm getting more back from it than I'm giving.
Yeah, and it's, you've been out of the elementary classroom for a while, so it's really just establishing that connection, which is great. Do you have a special moment in your childhood that really just comes up when you think about the kids that you're serving?
Really easy for me. My first grade teacher, Mrs. Hyde, my family actually moved schools in the middle of first grade. So you can imagine that's hard at any time, coming in, being the new kid in the class halfway through the school year. And she was able to take my geeky bookwormishness and actually help to make me part of the classroom by encouraging me to be part of their it's first grade, so trying to inspire readers and sort of like, okay, each book you get, we're going to make a caterpillar and you're going to get like a little circle. And I was always sort of embarrassed if because I was a bookworm, like mine would be long. She found a way to make it so that it was okay for me to do that and not seem like as more of an outsider even than I was. I'll never forget that.
I have a passion with financial literacy. I think our kids are not graduating with a good foundation in that. DonorsChoose just partnered with Charles Schwab to co-fund financial literacy projects on the site. What do you think, with your extensive background, that teachers can do really to make sure our kids are prepared for adult life in that area?
What I've seen actually is a really powerful thing, and I know you funded a project in this area, and every year I'm lucky enough, there's a middle school in Silicon Valley, and there are others around there, but it's a middle school, and what they do to teach financial literacy and entrepreneurship is they have the students put together a business plan. And that sounds really daunting, but it could be anything from like babysitting, dog walking, baking cookies. One year, the hot thing was to make wallets out of duct tape. But anyway, it doesn't matter what the product is. And the groups of 3 to 5 students, they learn, okay, well, here's the idea. Even if, let's say dog walking, something everyone can understand. Well, okay, how many of us are here? How many dogs can we walk? How many hours per week are we going to spend? And so how much money are we going to charge? Because what's it going to cost us for other things that we're going to need? Maybe buy leashes and so on and so forth. But brings it to like a level that a middle school kid can understand. And I think that a lot of times, whether it's financial literacy or entrepreneurship, but just understanding the basics of a budget, it feels very daunting. It's kind of like you said, when you talk about financial literacy, you try to break it down into small chunks, and sort of at that chunk, it really resonates. And they put together and they basically say, look, I need $75 for materials because I'm going to bake brownies and I'm going to sell this many brownies, and if I sell them for $1 a piece, then I'm going to make 20 cents a brownie, and we're going to spend 20 hours on this project and we'll make this much money. And then they actually go and do it. So I think all of the wonderful projects that are on DonorsChoose that actually fund hands-on experiences, whether that's a classroom hands-on project or a field trip, those are the kinds of things that I think kind of make it come to life for the kids. And I've seen it be really effective.
And it's critical because we see them doing these small things, but as time goes on, it ripples into now you have your investors that you're dealing with now as 25-year-olds.
Right,
and so,
exactly.
And I just really think that's a critical tool for our kids to be learning earlier on.
Most of, I would say, at least 2/3 or 3/4 of the entrepreneurs that, I've been lucky enough to fund, and, when we say they raised 5 million, 10 million, significant, almost all of them had a business when they were a kid in middle school or high school. And so I think getting that in the hands of the kids earlier on, just realizing that, starting your own business, being an entrepreneur, it's for everyone.
And how do we bring that to income, or to communities that are lower in income, where they may not have
because they don't
access.
see it around them, right? And so that's why I think bringing it down to a scale and a dollar amount where they can have access, like real world access, like, even if it's, like I said, if it's making $25 from having a bake sale, the idea of, the tangibility of, like, look, everybody can do this, right? And then actually pointing out to them there actually are people in their community, in their neighborhoods. I mean, they're small businesses. Those are all entrepreneurs. I mean, they're not creating mobile apps, but they're running a store or doing a dry cleaner or whatever.
I spoke to Alan Blue, who's the co-founder of LinkedIn. He visited Cal State Northridge, and I went up to him and just asked him straight up. I believe there's a disconnect between K-12 and the business world, as well as K-12 and higher learning. I believe that more business people like yourself and the other people on the board, teachers would benefit for you guys to, like, come and visit our kids. How do you think we can better connect the business world to our classrooms, in addition to DonorsChoose.org?
That's a great question. I think that I think that all business leaders that I know care a lot about the schools and their local community, and there hasn't been an easy way to establish that connection. So I think honestly it's probably more teachers like yourself, you're teaching things where, I think most of us in the financial, we don't understand, like, what could we possibly do that would be useful to a teacher like you. So I think when you're doing, one of your financial literacy classes, inviting people, guest speakers, to come in and speak to the students about that. Honestly, you'd be surprised if you ask them, they would love to go. I think everybody has, like, a warm memory of something from their middle school or high school or elementary school days, and would love to come in and talk to students. But you're right, it's a good point. There's not those same kinds of tie-ins. Whereas opposed to if you think, in college, a lot of those places have, like, adjunct faculty. So it's kind of more built in to have non-academics come in, but I don't think that the public schools have those same kinds of connections.
It's just an honor to get to know you over the past time at the board meetings. But as you know, I teach music, and I believe the arts have a huge place. Big karaoke fan. If you were at a karaoke party, what is your go-to song?
So this is actually easy. Don't Stop Believing.
So inspiring.
Well, only because who doesn't know the words? You figure if you start doing I'm not very musical, though I enjoy karaoke. So you have to pick a song where most of the audience is going to know. So if you're doing really bad, then they will help you.
Thank you so much for being with us. You have any last thoughts to just inspire teachers as we head out?
Yeah, just what I would say to the teachers is, thank you. You guys have done such a great job having your students thank the donors. On behalf of all of the donors and board members, I would just say thank you to the teachers. I know that hopefully you hear this often enough, but I know seeing with my children and thinking back into my growing up, the amount of impact that you have on the students is amazing, and how much you can motivate and encourage kids to do things. And any little thing that we can be doing by helping to support you, please continue to ask, post projects, give ideas and feedback. This is a board that actually takes a lot of feedback from the teachers. And I would say for me, I think pretty directly, it was the teacher feedback on doing more for life essentials that came up through to the Donors Choose executive team and bubbled up to the board, and the board was super supportive. So that's an idea that really did come from the teachers. So keep coming up with ideas like that. Tell us how we can help you more.